Good morning from a very special place. I wrote this down so I'll get it right. I'm here to tell you about someplace special. And this vlog is all about slowing down. Soaking in the beauty all around us, and you'll see that shortly. And finding meaning in every day. So grab your coffee, take a breath, and let's wander around this place where I'm at right now together. This is Galicia. This is the Parador. Let me go over this way. You can see a little better. Go down the steps right here. There it is behind me. This is a palace. Let me read that too. So just so I can get it right, because I've been getting things wrong, just making stuff up. I can do that. This is the Parador de Santo Estevo. It's a stunning retreat tucked into the heart of Galicia's Ribeira Sacra district. Now, I have other videos where we went along the Ribeira Sacra, which is the riverside of the River Sil. So it's a canyon. It's quite spectacular view. And because of Google Maps, we didn't get some of the views because that's a whole nother story. So overlooking the River Sil Canyon, this Parador blends centuries-old architecture with modern elegances. Okay, so the monastery itself dates back to the 10th century and features 3 breathtaking cloisters, Romanesque, Gothic, and Renaissance, one of which is where the rooms are. So when you come out of your room, you see this, you're in a cloister, you're quite cloistered. Once monk cells, these rooms we were staying in, the rooms now offer refined comfort, hardwood floors, vaulted ceilings, even whirlpool tub, not in ours. And they also offer windows that close and completely darken off the thing, so we slept a lot later than we intended. Sorry. So there's a spa, because I guess monks needed a spa to go with their beer. So there's some wine cellars. That I can imagine was the original from the monks. So surrounding this area is a lush forest, which I'm in Spain. You don't think lush forest is a thing, but in Galicia, it's the green section of Spain. So that's why it's quite green. The first day here, it did rain quite a bit. I think a storm was coming through, a tropical storm. But now it's been sunny for a whole day and a half, so that's nice. But there's often, there's a car behind you. Sometimes in the river, in the canyon, there's just a cloud layer stuck in the bottom, which is quite a good picture. It's in the way of some things, but... All right, so if you're in the area of Galicia, which we'd recommend, although if you go, talk to me first, because then I'll tell you when to ignore, well, I haven't quite figured that out, when to ignore Google Maps, because it must have thought I was on a mountain bike in some places. All right, so let's get to going to the tour of the facilities. So a view from the outside here, we'll walk past that more closely, but this is the first hotel I've stayed in with its own cemetery. So the square things down there are the cemetery, and there's the church. Now we have stayed in a couple other paradores with churches, which I imagine had people buried in them. So in there are buried 9 bishops. Maybe that's them over there. So the 9 bishops had 9 rings. And the 9 rings they found in one of the remodelings here. They did some digging and found an old bag. And when they x-rayed it with radiography, they determined there were rings in there. So they carefully opened the bag, took the rings out, but there were only 4. So they were missing 5 rings. 5 rings to rue them all. And in the darkness, spite them. I imagine not. But 9, isn't that the number of 9 rings from the Lord of the Rings? All right, pardon this car behind me. I thought he was going to keep going. So there's the Cañón de Sil. So, there's a bit of fog down at the bottom, but usually it's a big blanket of fog. Okay, now he's passing me. These crosses here, with the neat flags blowing in the back, are all over Galicia, I guess Spain. We've been to rural Spain a lot. So they represent, anytime there's a cross street, cross path, so they'd exist before people had cars. So as many of the roads that Google made us drive on existed before they had cars, and still exist. So, and this thing on the two legs here, that's historic grain storage. So a lot of the critters who could crawl but didn't want to crawl very far couldn't reach the grain if you raised it up like that. So like deer and stuff like that. Here we are, getting a little closer, my friends. So at the top there, you can see the crest with the 9 bishops' hats on there, whatever they're called. So those are the 9 bishops. And then here's the cemetery. Just let us now walk through that door and see the splendor. That is the cloister with the rooms on it. And friendly. So the staff is very friendly, including the ones of. So the friendliness is a bit awkward, and you might say it's kind of stiff, at least with these two. The rest of them are very friendly, very nice. We haven't encountered that many yet because they arrived pretty late, but the check-in was simple. All right, I got some nighttime shots of this with the camera stills, but let's do a spin. So this is one of the 3 cloisters that there are. So in that area right there are 3 restaurants. One is right there it's called the cafeteria. So they have lighter food options. And in the morning they have a buffet or a la carte. And downstairs they have a fancy room. Okay, these are kind of hard to see, but here are some of the spirits that inhabit the place. Yes, there is a cemetery, and there are spirits, except these are of the drinkable kind. So this is aguardiente. Now this is licor de hierbas. That's the green stuff that gets me really affected, you might say. Now abadia means bodega, or that other large one that's with the rooms around it is called the cloister of the caballeros, the gentlemen. The gentleman's cloister. All right, from there we can pass through a door and get access to the bishop's cloister. This is the bishop's cloister, separated from the church by a thick wall. So the church is on my right here. Don't know why it had to be thick, but it has a rectangular floor plan, and connected to it by a staircase. It has a rectangular, perpendicular to its construction combines 2 stages, a lower Romanesque, which is where we're walking right now, featuring semicircular arches and pairs of columns, and the upper late Gothic stage with basket-handled arches, cross vaults, and intermediate ribs and buttresses were later added, lending to its current appearance. A semicircular arch next to one another, another blind arch leads to a staircase that takes you to the upper floor, which is exclusively for guests, which is me. The fountain was associated with the healing rituals linked to the 9 holy bishops who retired to the monastery in the 10th century, whose tombs were a place of pilgrimage until the 15th century. Don't know what happened after that. Okay, there's the stairs into the cathedral. Oh, neato. Let's go up here. There's actual rooms, hotel rooms. So this is one of the buttresses. All right, that's this side once again over there. That's the cathedral associated with it. Let's read about this. Oh, there's the spa. Because every monastery needs a spa. I think I might actually use that. They have a sauna. So from the northwest corner of the bishop's cloister, which is where we were, one can access the Viviero cloister, the living room. In monastic times, the space housed the cells of the abbot and monks, as well as the refectory, which is where we were, that you can rent for meetings and stuff. Today, these rooms have been converted into lounges for the exclusive use of guests. In the center of the courtyard, there stood a large fountain that occupied the entire space and was used as a vivarium to keep salmon, eels, and trout from the river Sil. The cloister was rebuilt in the Renaissance style after the fire of 1562. Square in plan, it has 2 levels organized into galleries with 4 semicircular arches resting on Tuscan columns. On the upper level, some columns were replaced with mullions, which allowed for the addition of the tympanums, adopting a more linteled architecture and language. So let's see. So there used to be a fountain here where they stored the fresh fish, so the people living here could have fresh fish. And let's spin around on. All right, we are leaving the building and going on the little walk around the Finca do Convento, the garden of the convent. All right, going up here, you'll see on the right a structure. So to avoid the fire of 1569 a second time, they moved the ovens out this way. So there they are, or at least the backside. This mound right here, in the garden outside it says Castro Celta, which means a Celtic castle. Vestiges of the base of a circular Celtic castros from the 1st century, Año de Cristo, AD. All right, there's the outer wall of the monastery down this trail, down this picturesque green trail. So, remember at the beginning of the video I said peaceful. There aren't a whole lot of people here, although off in the distance I do hear the required leaf blower. This is the Fornos, the monasterio. So the monasterio formed a small community, a big family, and they had to attend to all of them with food, clothing, lodging, and infirmities. All right, this is not a bad place. So for the price of a regular hotel near Disney, not at Disney, you can stay here in this wonderful, calming, peaceful monastery, and that is our room right there. So we were looking out over this when we had the windows open. Okay, so we're going to end this stay at the Monasterio of Santo Estevo. So if you like this video, if you want to see more of things like this, keep watching this channel. So remember to click like and subscribe. Or they say here, oprima la me gusta. Oh, let's walk over here and these two fellows are giving me the signal of what you should do. Here we go. I'll stand behind. I'll stand with them. Isn't this place amazing? See, just like him, give me the la me gusta.